a boy from the Korean army who is an excellent sniper. He is sent to a sniper exercise with army veterans. However, he suffers an accident in the army where an explosion leaves our protagonist immobilized and in debt. Hallie tries to recover, but the truth does not get him frustrated. The main character leaves the room when he is taken to another place, and some hands pull him. A being of light asks him if he wants to walk again and makes a deal with Jolly. He accepts and then wakes up in front of his cousin, who mentions that he put him in this machine while he was sleeping. He explains to us that it is a virtual reality capsule. The cousin mentions that seeing him depressed, his aunt felt worried about him since it is difficult to get a job in the state of Hallia. So the cousin tells him to accept it and mentions that if he wants to walk Hallia again, remembers the being of light that mentioned the same thing to him. But there is no time to remember since the cousin sends him to the game and tells him that he can also earn money in this game. Hallia enters the start of the game falling epically in front of his wife. The wife welcomes him to the game. He chooses, but he realizes that he is naked. After this, the wife comments that he must choose his name for the game. He puts his name and his appearance. The wife gives him his blessing and sends him to the game world, style medieval. Our protagonist falls safely into this village where he is freaking out because of the realistic nature of the game and also because he can walk again. A local mentions that a very naive foreigner has arrived and asks him to help adjust to this new life. The villager accepts and mentions that he needs resilience. He tells him to touch the oranges to the wife. Leger refuses and puts him in his place, but he passes the test and is sent to the training group in the north. So he runs off again, enjoying being able to walk. Hallia manages to get to the center and it looks familiar to him since he sees soldiers training. Quickly, he picks up a sword and mentions that his combat system was activated. Hallia lands his second blow and shows he has a lot of physical strength. He leaves the others freaking out, and at the same time, we are explained that it is because he used a strong attack. Thus, our protagonist completes the combat tutorial and goes on to the selection of the type of class and the main weapon that the wife will use. She takes her time in a very sinister way, while with her, a rifle. Hallia does not hesitate and chooses it, but it takes a long time to reload, and he misses his shot. The wife mentions that this rifle only has 50% accuracy at 40 meters. Hallia tries again but is desperate due to the charging time. But when he sees the other long-distance weapons they choose, he is not convinced. The wife mentions that he can remove the assisted mode to increase the accuracy of the shot. When he is undecided, he mentions that he will disconnect, but the wife mentions that he cannot do that. In choosing a class, he takes things more seriously to be able to make money with the game and makes the decision to choose to be a magician. However, his little boss disconnects him, and our protagonist wakes up in reality. He mentions to his mother that he is fine and looks on the internet what happens when disconnecting. Most of the comments say that they appeared with a random class, and that if they delete the character, they have to wait 3 months to play again. Hallia decides to return to the game and arrives as a musketeer, with the rifle as his main weapon. The protagonist does not care, he doesn't have another. So, as his first mission, he has to hunt some rabbits. Hallia accepts, and when he shoots, he notices that the rabbit is really fast. So he chooses to run after hitting him. However, the rabbit hits him with a madrazo, and he has no choice but to fight with him like a baseball player. He throws the rabbit, making a home run. But the rabbit continues to fight him. However, Hallia gets the victory and begins to think that it is easier for others to kill rabbits even if they are beginners. But that does not stop Hallia from disconnecting and investigating his weapon to improve. So he gets to work and starts to improve his weapon, reducing the loading time. But even so, these here mention that they would be lost with that weapon, but Hallia was not going to give up. So he leaves again for another rabbit. However, when shooting, nothing happens to the rabbit, and he is forced to fight hand in hand. Finally, he manages to hit one at 100 meters, for which they give him a trophy. However, at noon, this main character's weapon is ruined, and he fights hand to hand with the rabbit. He is victorious and manages to level up by using his melee weapon. He is nicknamed the Bloody Butt, which is why rumors start about him. While sanding, he is going to buy equipment and finishes the mission. Hallia is going to bring meat to this lady who sells meat, so he chooses to accept. The lady asks for black rabbit meat, which is very rich, but it is dangerous to get it. She also mentions that they don't go out during the day. The lady also tells Leja not to rip her off or cause consequences. Leja goes straight for more ammunition and gunpowder. Everything is very expensive, but our main character has no other choice, so he buys them. After this, our main character is going to eat bread and runs into the girl who owns the bakery. She sells him bread, and our main character sees that the wife baker can't make bread for the rabbits. She offers to help him to put an end to the rabbits. The wife tells her that they have already proposed it before, but our protagonist mentions that the lady of the meat gave her the mission of hunting the black rabbit, and she is so convinced. What better ask him to collect an herb than when he marries the rabbit? Halia mentions that he will give him bread, and the wife ends up accepting the condition that he deliver the take before opening. Halia accepts and he goes at night to hunt the rabbit. He runs into these players who are going to hunt the rabbit too. However, they doubt Halia because of his class and equipment. Halia decides to go in search of more missions, and thus be able to increase his level. Halia gets it, but the boys from before who are forming call him the group since they were facing the black rabbit. Halia watches them and sees the power of magic. The rabbit manages to defeat one of them, and the others run away. And to finish it off, Halia realizes that there are two rabbits. Jos Mamadissimos Legia questions whether to help them since he loses a lot, but our hero decides to help them since these weapons are not his. Legia gets ready, and the girl is not very kind to him, but he concentrates and needs a good shot to finish off the rabbits. So, he chooses to wait patiently for them to come into range. Halia manages to hit the rabbit on the head. However, he only manages to hit one rabbit, and the other attacks the other partner. So, he can only escape with the girl. Since she chooses, she plans to buy time to be able to recharge. However, this wife appears and is ready to launch an attack. The other wife throws Halia so she can launch the ice attack. The blue-haired wife hits the rabbit, and the red-haired wife tells Halia to mention his name to make a team. Halia tells her they make a team, and she shoots this fire attack, and they manage to defeat the rabbit. Halia levels up, and Halia and their wife share the resources. There, yes, guys, the protagonist already has his wife since they chase him, and the red-headed wife is called Ram and the blue-haired Ram Guajillos. The redhead tells him that the blue-haired wife is a very famous player. Halia does not know her. You're welcome, and the red wife leaves. She was freaking out since she chose to eliminate the black rabbit with a shot, and the blue-haired wife mentions where the grass that the baker asked for it. The protagonist gets nervous, but the wife does not mind stealing from him. Now, who asks him how he eliminates the rabbit with one shot? Halia has no idea, but the game mentions that he was one of the critics. Halia and his wife go to a bar to celebrate, and the protagonist asks them why the bots of the game have respect for them. The red wife mentions that the blue one is ranked 5 in Asia and 9 in the world and mentions that they are known as the Ram sisters. They question Halia about how he defeated the rabbit with one shot. Halia repeats that he only shot at the coup. The wife do not believe him, but the blue branch mentions that it was instant death, but to achieve that, a swordsman must be at least level 90 or 70 for assassins. Halia remembers that when the achievement of killing the rabbit appeared to him, it appeared to him that it was from another level. So the wife invites him, but his Halia guild does not accept, but the wife tells him to think about it and to send him a friend request. The blue branch throws a mischievous face at our protagonist. So the protagonist is going to leave him what he promised to their respective bosses. So he levels up and gains a reputation in the town, and Legia gets new clothes. Legia goes with the bread girl, and she gives him bread to eat himself. Legia gives him as promised, and finally, he goes with the lady of the meat and gives her the rabbit meat. She pays him and gives him another mission, which is to kill a black eagle. The lady gives Legia a high quality and rare rabbit lunch. Legia thinks about selling it, but it has a label that says that it can't be sold. So, Legia chooses to part, but not before eating and going to buy more bullets. The one at the store continues with his inflation to the fullest, but he mentions to Halia that he is interested in bread with the smell of herbs. So, he chooses to haggle with him and manages to dribble to 70 sets. In being a gunpowder manufacturer, after this, Legia disconnects and watches the news. They talk about the game and mention the blue branch that went to the Candle Castle where he met Legia and also reveal that she is the daughter of an important Johnson. They also comment that the purpose was to go in search of a Korean player who turns out to be Halia. Halia is freaking out since he did not know the important thing is that he is on YouTube with many views and good and bad comments about Halia already. Because of his appearance, some called him a beginner and because of his class, but others believed that he was a beast like that to hide his potential. But in short, Legia meets his internet haters, so you think to join the guild, but he decides to level up earlier. So, he chooses to return to the game but with the foxes. He can't go up, so he goes after Los Lobos, but he needs a group for it which he thinks will be difficult since he is level 8. Halia decides to go alone and feels envious of how easy it is to do it having a group of different classes. However, this does not stop our protagonist, and he finds his wolf. So, Legia prepares herself on point and gives the little wolf a tremendous headshot, but a second appears that is more ready and moves more difficult, making it difficult to move the shot away. However, our protagonist manages to defeat him since he made a false shot with his mouth so that the wolf would attack. However, Halia is seen by someone and mentions how he did that. Halia is scared by his furry appearance of this. However, he mentions that they are players and they invite him to hunt with them since they will be able to fight wolves in packs. Being 3, Halia accepts the invitation, and the reptilian introduces himself as Villani, and the giant as Jindal. Then he gets to work, and the lizard begins distracting Los Lobos while Halia is at the tip and shoots one that was with the giant, and he finishes it off along with the reptilian. Followed by this, Halia ends in a second wolf with this file level up, and their friends congratulate them and continue hunting to go for El Aguila Negra together. The others see them as weird, but they see that their way of hunting is effective. Phil realizes that the lizard uses a superior technique since Blue Branch could also use its power walking. They finally manage to complete level 10, but Halia is rewarded with a good reputation with the kingdom and 100% confidence. The reptilian asks him how he did it since only 60% is achieved. Halia comments that he did several missions. The lizard is surprised since he chooses to comment that he caught the black rabbit at level 5. Halia goes with the one with weapons for the mission and goes to the place with his friends, and they run into a group that was defeated and a lot of players who are going for the same objectives. Halia is nervous since the others have better classes, but the lizard calms him down, and our protagonists enter the portal. Then we pass with the Ram sisters. The Blue Branch quickly kills Los Lobos, and Black Eagle makes a huge attack of spectral ice, which leaves the eagle dying. Red Ram finishes it off, and then we return with Halia, who is surprised to see the reptilians separate their heads. But he devises a plan to utilize it around them and thus avoid Los Lobos. However, a crow screws up their plan, and feeling guilty, the giant decides to sacrifice himself. But Halia does not accept it and he comes up with the plan to enter the gunpowder and shoot. This stuns the wolves, and they manage to escape, also blocking their smell due to the smell of gunpowder. The giant thus summons Raven in a funny way. So it's time to fight the Black Eagle. The reptilian comments on the attack pattern, mentioning that the eagle will attack with a dive attack and that it is deadly if it grabs after using a shout. So the best strategy would be to attack it when it is on the ground and lower its health so that it cannot fly. However, Halia proposes to hit it directly. The lizard comments that it is dangerous, but Halia is sure of achieving it. So he asks the giant to stand up to use it as a base, and the reptilian, in response, in case Halia misses the shot, has the Halia plan. He shoots and manages to hit it. The reptilian prepares for the descent, but Halia tells him that he just shot him, so they all level up. So they thank Leja and collect the eagle's meat, and Leja receives game achievements that paint him as a pro and that he should be on another level. He receives a last message where they tell him that he is one of the 3 people who achieved that achievement, for which he entered the Hall of Fame. However, as they leave the place, the lizard continues freaking out since he doesn't understand how Halia did that. Halia replies that it was a coincidence, but the reptilian is doubtful. However, he takes the order to the weapons officer, and he gives him a letter of recommendation for muskets from the capital for the academy. For this, our friends separate and say goodbye to Halia and Nuvo, freaking out with his Hall of Fame achievement and the achievements and skills he achieved. However, he goes with the Lady of the Meat to give him the eagle.